Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content. Nick Wright is joining us. First things first. You could say I'm selling the Chiefs stock. I'm not. I think that
you sold it in the offseason. You've declared this dynasty dead twice in the last 3 months, and in the middle of that, you declared them far and away the best team in the league. So I got to tell you, I am not here today to crow about the Chiefs. They have put me in such a crisis that I'm rocking a ponytail on your show because I'm in disarray with my team being the 9 seed, and I'm looking at tiebreakers against the Jags like a true poverty franchise when I'm used to looking up paths to the 1 seed. So I'm not in a good spot. And I was dead wrong about the game last week. But you have been a fickle beast when it comes to this Chiefs team this year. And the team you have number 2, who again, outplayed Kansas City, deserved to win, they were better. But you have them as the number 2 team in the league. Yeah. Last week, weren't you trading their quarterback? Like, weren't you that down on Bo Nix a week ago that he was maybe on his way out, and now they're the number 2 team in the league?
I think this is what Adam Silver's NBA is, which is there's about 8 teams that could all, if they're healthy and got a call in a game 6 of a series, this is what the NFL truly wants. They don't want Kansas City and Belichick dominating the league. It's all smushed in the middle, and I feel this way with college football outside of Ohio State. And I think the Rams are the cleanest good team in the league. But I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to Philly, Detroit, Seattle, if they played them again in the playoffs.
So this is where I will agree with you. More so this year than any year, honestly, of Mahomes' whole career, this, post-Brady NFL, not post-Brady Patriots era. I think, Colin, you can credibly make a case for maybe 12 teams could win the Super Bowl. Because the entirety of your hierarchy, I think, could win. You can make a case they can win the Super Bowl. You certainly can include the Packers as a team that can win the Super Bowl. And I know... listen, I know there's a team that's not even sniffing your top 10 that has 7 wins, and according to some, is the greatest coach-quarterback combo maybe in NFL history, and the Chargers. So they obviously have got, if just Joe Alt comes back, the most important player in the history of pro football, they'd have to be on there as well. But I agree with you. I think a third of the league, feels this morning they can win the championship. I agree with that.
So, it's interesting with the Cowboys. I said last night, in the last 4 years, I've had a good year betting football, but it's hard week to week. You don't know. But the one thing I really feel good about is every year I go out and I give you 2 teams that are going to be better than everybody thinks. So this year, it was New England and it was Seattle. Last year, it was Denver and Washington. The year before, it was, I think I picked the Rams as everybody thought rebuild. And I'm like, no, McVay, Stafford, they don't rebuild. I have said this. If you're honest about Dallas, so last night's a prime example where their 2nd-round pick, who's really good, came back. Another kid came back. They had all the kids playing, and Quinnen Williams, anybody that leaves the Jets, looked like great again. That's what happens with everybody that leaves the Jets, including coaches. They look competent. And I said, here's why I bought the Cowboy stock. They stole George Pickens. Let's give Jerry credit. That was a great move. He is a great, okay, I got a quarterback, a running back, an ascending O-line full of kids. Weapons are fine. Don't love the coach. But in a sport where 7 teams are desperate for a quarterback going into the offseason, quarterback is always overdrafted. This year, no exception. Dallas is one of the only teams, the Rams the other, that has 2 first-round picks and doesn't have to draft a quarterback. Dallas could manipulate the heck out of this draft, move down, move down, move down.
Oh,
my take is Dallas is not the Titans, the Jets, the Raiders. They're not. They're not that. They're closer than people give them credit for.
I totally agree with you.
Okay.
Oh, listen, I think that they are. If you're talking about for next season,
yes,
I think next season they're an interesting team.
Yes.
I think this season the NFC's too good in the middle for them to be able to claw their way out of 4-5-1. Because as far as making the playoffs this year, I believe that ship has sailed, and you don't get the Raiders every week. But I agree with you entirely that this could be a very intriguing team next season in what seems like it's going to perpetually be an underachieving NFC East. Like, I don't think that next year the Giants are all of a sudden going to be really good. And it doesn't feel to me like the Commanders are nearly as close as people thought. Obviously, Philly will be excellent. We would assume, they have the bones to be excellent every single year because of what they've built there. The one caveat I would have is Jerry, it feels inevitable that the drama du jour of this offseason for Jerry will be the George Pickens negotiation. And as talented as he is, I would have a little bit of anxiety about giving that player real long-term guaranteed money because of his, let's call it, colorful history on being able to, stay within the dotted lines. But no, I agree with you that I think the Cowboys are probably closer for next season than people give them credit. But I think because of what the Bears and Niners are doing as a fight for that final playoff spot, that they don't have any real hope of getting back into it this season. Like, I just think that's too far behind.
It's interesting about the Bears now that I spend a lot of time in Chicago. There's almost fear. Like, the schedule, it gets really tough. And I showed people, I said, their next 5 games, they play 5 teams that don't know what they are offensively. Packers twice, Eagles, Cleveland. I mean, these are good teams. And Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
Chicago is flawed. But Nick, second in the NFL in rush attempts, second in rushing. They know exactly what they are. They're a big play offense, number 1 big play, and they run the heck out of the ball. So they're flawed. They have too many penalties. They're stop and start. But the Bears know they have a real offensive identity. Packers don't. Eagles don't. Steelers don't. Cleveland doesn't. I think they have a chance to win the division. That's what I see. What do you see?
Wow. So that's a part commentary on the Bears, but that's also a part indictment on the Lions and the Packers, to me. Like, saying that they can win the division. So let me respond. I didn't expect that, because I thought that, to me, Bears fans right now are just saying, can we please make the playoffs, even though they're in first in the division? And I do have to say, I thought their win this Sunday was one of the most, I don't want to say depressing wins, but needing a final drive magic to pull one out of the fire against a J.J. McCarthy-led Vikings offense that could do nothing all game, and almost losing to them in the same fashion as you did in week 1 would have been devastating. But listen, Caleb's been clutch late, and even though he wasn't very good over the course of that game, and 7-3, to your point, is 7-3. I've got to think, Colin, that the Lions will get it together and that they won't look like they did against the Eagles, against many other teams. Now, I don't really believe in the Packers. And I think the Packers game against the Giants, it felt like, man, if Jackson Dart were healthy, would the Packers have lost that game? Yeah. So I do think that in the NFC, Philly and Tampa and the Rams are obviously going to the playoffs. I believe Seattle is also, I know they just lost this game, is pretty obviously going to the playoffs. It is really interesting to me how the NFC North plus the Niners is going to shake out. Because it feels to me, with respect to the Panthers, like there are 3 spots available for Lions, Packers, Bears, and San Francisco. And San Francisco just seems like it's already dealt with its injuries, and they're still right in the thick of it. So which of...
Oh, I think we lost Nick Wright. We'll try to get him back. Yeah, okay, go finish it up, Nick. We just lost you the last 2 seconds.
I'm just sorry. I was just saying, which of the NFC North teams is going to be left without a chair right now, given how they've played? I think Green Bay is where my money would be, which would be so disappointing. To trade 2 first-rounders for Micah and then to win week 1 the way they did, if they miss the playoffs, that's devastating.
I want to end with an NBA thought. So the Lakers have new owners. And these new owners that took over the Dodgers have moved off Manny Machado, Trey Turner, Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager. These are great players. I mean, Seager's the best Texas Ranger. Trey Turner won the National League batting crown. They moved off Zach Greinke. At some point, Luka, J.J. Redick are the future, the coach and the star, and Austin Reeves is Rob Pelinka's find. So that, GMs, they want to validate their choices, and Austin's played his butt off. How do you exit the LeBron business without offending Rich Paul, LeBron James, his legacy? Because these new owners have proven with the Dodgers, they'll move off batting champs, elite players at key positions. It is about a handful of Betts, Freeman, stars in their prime. They don't want old stars. They don't want people off injuries. How do you exit the LeBron-Laker situation with dignity for both?
Well, listen, I think you are accelerating a process that's going to come to a natural conclusion. So I just, fundamentally disagree with the idea. I'm not saying it's necessarily your idea, but the idea that adding LeBron James to any team in the league somehow could be bad. Like that, LeBron, who last year was somewhere from the 6th to the 9th best player in the whole sport, that dropping him on a team will screw things up when he's been one of the most malleable superstars in league history. And we saw him last year. As soon as Luka got there, he played off the ball more and was excellent. So I think this year, this fit will work. Now, are they good enough to beat the Thunder? Probably not. Is anybody? Probably not. And then after this season, Colin, if he wants to play another year, I think it's very on the board that he does it, maybe a final stop in Cleveland, maybe he looks out east, if he wants to do a true farewell tour. But LeBron James is going to be a Laker this season. I think that is pretty clear, and I think the Lakers want him to be a Laker this season. As good as they've been these first 14 games, that team we saw these 14 games is not good enough to win the championship. I don't know that adding LeBron makes them good enough. It probably doesn't, but it gives them a chance. And without him, that team can't win 3 rounds in the West to get to the finals. We'll see if they can with him. But I don't think it's going to be a messy exit. I think LeBron's going to play out his contract as he has with every contract he's ever had and then survey the landscape.
For the record, just 30 seconds left, circling back. When the Chiefs lose to drop to 5-5, what's it like to be around Nick Wright in your house in New York?
It's not great, Colin. It's, it was, listen, I'm not like an angry, I don't like yell at people or, hit the dog or something crazy. But my wife and daughter see the life drain from my eyes a bit. My wife, I think is maybe the next day more than she normally does checking our, joint banking account. And like, oh, it's a lot less than there was in there before. And you know that I occasionally, I shouldn't, but, indulge in a loose cigarette or two.
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly what happened and then I'll go. When they picked up that 2nd and 6 to get it to the 20-yard line, I still to this moment have not seen the field goal. When they picked up that play, that last first down, I said, the Chiefs just lost. I'll be back. I grabbed my dog. I grabbed 75 cents out of our little change thing. I walked down to the bodega. I bought a Lucy cigarette. and I smoked it and was very, very, and then I thought about all the people I had to contact to tell them how I'm going to make payment. That's what I thought. That's what I thought about. So that was it. But you know what? High highs, low lows. I don't do emotional hedges. I do the opposite. And I understand that the Chiefs dynasty is dead in the water and Patrick Mahomes is looking up at Bo Nix. A lot of season left. A lot of season left is all I'm going to say. Great to see you, Colin.
Nick Wright. Yeah, listen, it was close. Like last 2 years, all the Chiefs games, it's close. They were just winning them last year and not this year. Live in Chicago, it's the Herd. College basketball starting up. NBA, college football. Where's Lane Kiffin going to go? A lot of things hanging in the balance. It does feel like the NFL and college football outside of maybe Ohio State feels everybody's a field goal away from beating everybody else at the top of the NFL and college football food chains. Again, I think Ohio State has become receiver U. They're so explosive and their defense is elite. They don't. It feels somewhere between a Saturday and a Sunday defense. It's not an NFL defense, but they've got multiple guys that can go. I mean, they could have 2 of the top 6 picks on defense going to college football, a corner and a linebacker, and they look every part of it. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
All right, Colin, you love that Jalen Hurts scuttlebutt in Philly so much first hour. We found another one for you, but it involves Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. Listen, I know they're 7-3 and on top of the NFC North, but according to your favorite media outlet, The Athletic, an opposing defensive coach believes Caleb's style of play does not work well with Ben Johnson's offensive style. Adding he believes Johnson is frustrated with Caleb because he doesn't play on time and is uncontrollable. Colin, I know you're excited about Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and the first place Bears. I'm just telling you right now, enjoy it while it lasts because this is not how it's going to end up. They're not going to be first place this season, and this Ben Johnson Caleb stuff is going to continue to percolate.
Well, I think Ben Johnson, like a Shanahan, has a structure that he wants his quarterback to play within. And there's always been a little give and take on that, is that, that's why he loves Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy comes at a reasonable price and is going to do what Kyle says. But Kyle doesn't have any Super Bowls, right? And has kind of had them in his grasp, and they in the fourth quarter, and they can't seal it. So I think this is a position that a lot of coaches deal with. A lot of offensive coaches have a certain structure, but they want you to make, like I said that this weekend, Matt Stafford is more play call reliant. If the initial play doesn't work, he's not going to move around and make something happen like Josh Allen. Sam Darnold is less play call reliant. He'll go to a second and third option athletically, but you get more mistakes. So I think all these offensive coaches, it's a little bit of, I think Bo Nix should run more. Sean Payton doesn't want him to run more.
Wow.
I think he should. So I think when you get a quarterback who is so gifted, this is the push and pull of coaching him. It's not ideal. He will play out of structure. I thought 2 weeks ago when he ran for a touchdown to win at home, I thought Cole Kmet was open. He should have thrown the ball, but they got a touchdown. So I just think this is part and parcel to having a gifted athletic quarterback.
So some of the more advanced stats, I know that some of the counting stats look okay for Caleb, but some of the more advanced stats, success rate, EPA per play, he's like below 25, Colin. Caleb is not as efficient as the 7-3 record indicates. I do think at some point they'll have a wake-up call. I don't know if it's this weekend, because this Pittsburgh team, I'm very low on them.
Yeah.
I do like the Bears here. I just think just keep an eye on Caleb and Ben. I'm not saying this could be McVay and Goff. Remember how McVay moved off Goff and got the guy he wanted? But I wonder if this keeps up. This is first year, maybe second year if it's still going.
Well, if you watch Ben Johnson's body language in games, he gets frustrated.
Yeah.
I didn't think Mike McDonald was frustrated with Sam Darnold despite the 4 picks. That's not what his body language said. He was running the plays. He was trying to make plays. It was a third down. You've got to throw. You're behind the sticks. You're not in a good space. I think you can see Ben's frustration, on a pretty regular basis with Caleb. And I think that's totally fair. Watch the coach, watch his body language. I thought Sean Payton 3 weeks ago, his body language was not great with Bo Nix. I think the last 2 weeks it's been much better.
100%. All right, let's move on to the New York Giants. Interesting report over the weekend from Jay Glazer. Obviously, he's plugged in with a lot of teams, NFL Insider. And there's speculation. I think you've mentioned Lane Kiffin's name. I think you mentioned Mike McCarthy. Well, Jay Glazer has an interesting name. I haven't seen this out there anywhere. Take a listen.
But also a name who's starting to really pop up. We talked about the game earlier. Chris Shula, okay, who is the defensive coordinator for the Rams. But I'll tell you this. Of all the coaches that Sean McVay has kind of pushed along to be a new head coach, the next head coach, he's done more with Chris Shula than all of them combined. These two guys are best friends. They went to college together, but he lets him in on everything. Where he may not have done that with everybody else, he does with Shula. He thinks he's going to be a star.
Yeah, I don't want to go. Again, who succeeded in New York? Parcells, Pat Riley, Tibbs, Joe Torre, Tom Coughlin. What are they? Proven winning head coaches. Assistants go to New York to die. Coordinators go to New York to die. Tom Coughlin won at BC. He won at Jacksonville. He won in New York. Joe Torre, Bill Parcells. I mean, have you I mean, even Rex Ryan. I mean, I'm sorry. To me, New York is not. Let's give another coordinator a shot. It's too loud. There's too much pressure, and they don't have a good enough team right now to win on the margins.
That's kind of an interesting take. My only thing is he's a defensive guy with McVay, right? If you want to pick from the McVay tree, what makes McVay so special is his offense. I know the defense is playing good this year. Do you think the Giants, now maybe they say, hey, we tried Daboll and offense didn't work. We need a defense culture guy. This is a McVay culture guy with defense.
Well, Raheem Morris and Brandon Staley did wonders with the Rams defense.
As head coaches, how'd they do?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, your hit rate on Vrabel, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh was going to be 100%. Nobody doubted they'd be good week one. Yeah. Your hit rate on Mike McCarthy will be 100% that you will win games with Mike. Not saying Super Bowls. Mike McCarthy becomes a coach, you're going to win 9+ games. That's his history if he has a serviceable B+ quarterback. Your hit rate on coordinators winning it all is 50%. Yeah. Just do the math. Do the math. Mike McCarthy is what wins in New York. Somebody that's been there. He's dealt with meddling Jerry Jones, the no ownership Packers, and Aaron Rodgers. He's dealt with a lot of stuff.
And the other problem is if you get a defensive guy as a head coach, Colin, you know this, the offensive coordinator's got to be a hit. Well, guess what happens when he's a hit? He goes and becomes a head coach, right? So as soon as he has a good year with Dart, the OC is going to be out to a head coaching job, and then you're starting all over. I'm sure Shula's done a great job. I just don't know that's the direction I'd take it. Final story, college football. Big signing at head coach. Yes, the Virginia Tech Hokies. I went to Virginia Tech for 2 years. They landed James Franklin, who was recently cut loose by Penn State.
Great hire for them.
Oh, that's an amazing hire. Now, there's reports from, some of my Virginia Tech friends that Franklin was waiting to see if any bigger jobs were interested in him. And that's why he was stringing along. Virginia Tech finally said yes. This has been in the works for weeks.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, Colin, he was due $49 million from Penn State in his buyout. So he negotiated a $9 million lump sum payment. So he gets $9 million and goes and gets to coach. Now, listen, you're a man, well-renowned. Everybody knows you. Colin, $49 million to walk away, and he's instantly jumping back to coaching. That is a little crazy. $49 million you could do a lot with, okay? Well, you could retire. You could go buy islands. Why is he going back into coaching?
Because he's in his prime as a man, and he doesn't want to golf all day. I mean, when you're in your prime, you want to work.
Yeah,
we're workers. That's what we do.
Offer me $49 million. See what I'll probably still want to work.
Everybody. I mean, I think again, James Franklin. First of all, he recruits that area.
Yeah.
So he looked at it and he's like, I'm not going to coach West. He doesn't have any history there. He doesn't want to go back to the South, perhaps. Nor is he getting offers. His take is, what's going to be open? Well, this is probably, this is not a top 10 job. Is it a top 18 job, top 15?
Top 20, top 25, whatever.
Okay.
But here's the thing. He doesn't have to face all these top 5 teams all the time. That's his only kryptonite. Franklin's a great coach. He just struggled against the elites, right? Ohio State, Michigan. Like, he struggled against them. So what? He's going to be a home run at Virginia Tech. I'll personally guarantee you they're in the playoff within 3 years. Or maybe I'll do a crazy bet, like shaving something in the side of my head.
Yeah.
But I would say within 3 years, James Franklin is going to have Virginia Tech on the right path.
They'll have NFL players. He's a great recruiter. You watch Penn State play Indiana. Go watch the second half of Penn State, Indiana.
Got dudes.
That's all his players. They dominated for most of the second half. They dominated Indiana. Indiana went to Autzen and dominated Oregon for 3 hours. Penn State, all those recruits from James Franklin, they had a backup quarterback. And they marched up and down the field on Indiana. So whoever gets the Penn State job, you're getting pros. There's Sunday guys all over that roster.
Oh, yeah.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
So I was thinking about this, J-Mac. So every Monday I do Colin Right, Colin Wrong. And I had the Seahawks as a good team this year, New England. My Blazing 5 picks, probably as hot as I've ever been. You were 5-0, I was 5-0. I was thinking during the break, what is the most wrong I have been so far this year? Like way off.
Didn't you have the Chiefs #1 in the herd hierarchy a few weeks ago?
But that's week to week. I'm talking about a big macro topic.
Okay, all right.
I think the most wrong I've been was Shedeur Sanders. I thought Shedeur Sanders was at worst a mid-second round quarterback. I watched him this weekend, and he was fine. He wasn't very good. But, he did a spin move I thought was clever, and he threw a ball to the end zone that could have been caught. It wasn't, but it was a great throw. I think it was fine. What's interesting, what I find, and it's really weird, who we pick and choose to be loyal to. Like, there's this group of people out there, they really believe, and this is the conspiratorial nature of the country. They really believe that there is a conspiracy inside the building against him. So Kevin Stefanski needs to win games. These are really good jobs. He's making $7 million a year, whatever he makes. Why would you conspire to play a worse quarterback? I think this is from people that have never maybe had a great job. When you have them, you don't conspire against yourself. There's 32 coaching jobs in the NFL. They all pay like $7.5 million up. You would never do anything to get in the way of winning. Now, coaches make mistakes, personnel mistakes. You never try to lose. Now, there are times if you have an early contract or you're safe, you may say to yourself, I wouldn't mind getting the #1 pick in a draft to get Andrew Luck or something. Like, I get that. We're not going to play Peyton Manning those last 4 games. Like, I understand that sort of institutional collective decision. But just think about how ridiculous it is. Like, I watched Dylan Gabriel, and over the last 2 to 3 weeks, he had stabilized the offense. He's not great. He's not big, but he wasn't throwing picks, multiple touchdown games. With that defense, you're like, Cleveland's they're a tough out, especially at home.
Yeah.
And you watch Shedeur, and Shedeur does 2 things that Dylan Gabriel doesn't. He runs backwards. Coaches hate that, especially offensive coach.
Yeah.
Shedeur, I always say, when your college problem becomes your NFL problem, it's just who you are. Like, Shedeur in college ran backwards. Shedeur in the NFL, watching him, runs backwards. It's who he is. I've said this with Caleb. Caleb, spotty accuracy. College, Bears. 2 different coaches in college, 2 different coaches in the pros. He's not that accurate.
Right.
That's who he is. So he's got to be a big play guy and have the right play caller in a run game. So, but it's so weird to me that people think that the NFL, all these GMs and coaches, half the league is desperate for quarterbacks, either the year of the draft or in a year, that they all just kept passing on Shedeur.
Well, it's weird. He wasn't great, 4 of 16, yet he had a drive at the end of the game, Colin, to maybe tie it up and send it to overtime. Like, he did a couple of things. Yeah. I'm definitely not defending him. I think at one point he was 2 of 14. But you know what? On Sunday Night Football, Jared Goff went through a stretch where he was 1 of 14. Yeah. Like, it can be tough, okay?
That's right.
I'm not comparing Shedeur to Goff. I'm just...
Yeah, no.
This is his first half of NFL action.
Like, yeah, no. I'm... Again, this is what we do for a living. I'm not for him or against him. I think when you get 2 speeding tickets over 90 in camp...
It's not ideal.
Bad judgment. I think putting legendary in your draft room, that's just bad judgment. By the way, intentionally bombing interviews, bad judgment. He's so nice. And by the way, running backwards, bad judgment. He's got a judgment issue. It's not a size issue. It's not an arm strength issue. It's not, I mean, those aren't the issues. The kid has series of bad judgment. Running backwards, legendary, speeding tickets. You know.
You want to guess what the spread is for the Browns at the Raiders on Sunday? Let me call it up here.
Cleveland at the Raiders. Raiders favored by 2.
Interesting. I'm seeing 3.5. I would probably take the points there with Shedeur. It's early. We need to see if Shedeur's even starting. Could be Gabriel. But given the concussion, usually the quarterback's out the next week.
But isn't it remarkable? Some of the stuff, I don't know what happened in America. And I think maybe it's just the explosion of social media.
Yeah.
And you go on social media and everybody can find their weird friend group. Like if you're a conspiracy theorist, then you're going to find people that will amplify that.
Your tribe.
You'll find your tribe on the internet. And so, but it's like, folks, coaches are not trying to pick the quarterback that will be less successful for them. That's not the way it works. And when you watch what Dylan Gabriel does, you can see why a coach would like it. He doesn't run backwards. He stabilized the offense. He doesn't throw a lot of picks. He gets rid of the ball quickly. Shedeur holds it. He runs backwards. His judgment isn't great. But I do think he's got talent. But it's just the world we live in now. It is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's wackadoos all over the internet. And I don't think it's just a small group of people. I think there's 30% of Browns fans think they're trying to wreck Shedeur's career. What in the world? What kind of sense does that make? None. Well, he lives in Denver, 3-time Super Bowl champ, was with the Broncos for several years, and now Mark Schlereth is Fox Sports NFL analyst. So you get the weekend off this weekend, and you can watch football while many of us were watching Kansas City and Denver. And, you know, it was interesting about Bo Nix is that, and I think Caleb Williams falls into that, it's uneven. It's you kind of feel like Bo Nix should run more. The Bears do run more as a team. I keep coming down. This is something that really impresses me about Bo Nix. He has thrown the most passes in the league since he arrived. And I said this earlier, the greatest compliment that a parent can give a child at an early age is responsibility. I trust you picking up your sister at school. I trust you. I'm leaving. Babysit your brothers and sisters. Sean Payton has basically done what Andrew Luck felt with Bruce Arians. Here's the whole playbook. Go for it. And that's hard. They got a lot of penalties. So my takeaway on all the Bo stuff is Sean Payton is telling me, listen, I'm giving you the whole playbook. I'm giving you the Drew Brees playbook. Big Ben didn't get that. I don't think Caleb's gotten that. That to me is a real thing. Your thoughts on that theory or that opinion?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. You know, I've talked about it here a bunch on local radio, on my podcast. There are times when I'm like, hey, man, the answer is always simplify.
Yeah.
Like if you're having issues with penalties, you're having issues with offensive, production, if you're having issues lining up and you've got holding calls and you got procedural penalties and all those things, normally what you say is, hey, man, it's too complicated. And offensively, by the way, you motion a bunch of guys in there, you're shifting formations, you're getting it play in late, all that stuff. Usually the answer, or it's always been in my case, is simplify this. Let's make it easier on our players. And I think one of the things Sean is saying to you is we've got a defense that's a championship caliber defense, is a historic type defense, right? So we have that aspect. And we've got a quarterback who can handle it. And what he's saying is, I'm not worried right now about the regular season. We'll win games based on our defense in the regular season. To get where we want to go, which is a world championship, we need the full complement of offensive plays. We need everything. So if I simplify, then I'm not developing. If I simplify, I'm not putting my quarterback with the most weapons available when we get to the playoffs. If I simplify, I'm doing disservice to my football team. So I'm going to put us in a tough position. I'm not going to pare down the offense. I'm not going to quit with my personnel packages. I'm not going to quit using motions and shifts. I'm going to load it on my quarterback. He's going to play in gun because I think this is the best way for us to have a championship run. And I think that's what Sean Payton is telling you right now, is that I'm not going to do the things that make the most sense because those things aren't going to help me come playoff time.
So it was a different era, but when you played with Elway could throw picks. Peyton Manning threw a lot of picks. Eli Manning threw a lot of picks. In fact, Aaron Rodgers was one of the first quarterbacks where you got a lot of upside without picks. Generally, the great ones, the Namath, Favre, John Elway, you threw double-digit picks. And I've always defended, I want my quarterbacks to take risks. If you go look at Andrew Luck, he had 9 games in his career with 3+ picks. Same as Sam Darnold. So we look at Darnold and we go, oh, he's a disaster. No, Andrew Luck, 5 of his 6 seasons had double-digit picks. So I think Luck's more talented than Darnold, but that was kind of my comp out of college. There's a little bit of Andrew Luck there, a little reckless, but man, has he got an arm, and man, is he a playmaker. When you played with
I think one of the other, I think one of the other things with Sam Darnold is, listen, man, you went to the Jets, and that was a disaster, as it is for a lot of people who go to the Jets. And so, that was a mess. And then you go to Carolina, where they're running a collegiate style of offense. Then you choose to go to San Francisco, where you had other options, but you choose because you want to be coached by Kyle Shanahan and a progression offense. Then you go to Minnesota, and they decide they don't want you. I think sometimes you get to the point where you're trying to press, where you're trying to earn, the contract that you got. And ultimately, for Sam Darnold, you just got to say, hey, dude, you earned this thing. Man, you're that good. And all you have to be right now is judicious with the football, because we've got a football team that is phenomenal. And you think about what happened. I thought the Rams going into last weekend were the best team in the National Football League. You turn the ball over 4 times, you give the Rams 4 short fields, and you lose a game 21-19. You should lose that game 41-19.
Right.
That's how you should lose it. That defense is that good. And, oh, by the way, Seattle gets into the red zone several times, and they end up kicking, 4 field goals? There are certain games, Colin, you walk away from as a player, even though it's a loss, where you go, we're damn good.
Yeah.
And I think Seattle would look at this game in SoFi against the Rams team that was hot, and you're sitting there going, dude, we get those guys on a neutral site, we win that game. We should have won that game right there. And you actually feel pretty good about what you were able to accomplish in kind of a tough environment that didn't go your way. So that's kind of how I would look at that if I'm Sam Darnold. Quit trying to impress people. You've already won the job. You're already that good. You've had a phenomenal season, man. Just don't turn the ball over.
So, you were lucky. You had really good quarterback play, but it doesn't mean every quarterback you played with was the right fit or the right talent. And I think you can fool a lot of people. You can never fool the locker room. You can never fool pro athletes. And I watched J.J. McCarthy, and I'm like, they got a tool set here. That's a good tool belt. I got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, a good running back, good coach, good left tackle. Give me a time in your career when you just knew the quarterback wasn't it. And what do players say privately that they won't say publicly? What does it do to a locker room?
Yeah, it's tough when a guy's, struggling. And I've been in that situation. What you have to remember is J.J. McCarthy didn't play a lot in college.
Yeah.
He missed his rookie year with the injury. And what I would tell you about J.J. McCarthy is he's going to the right place. Like when I watch him on film, it's usually going to the right place. It is just inaccurate at times. And he had some drops last weekend against Chicago Bears. but there are just too many throws that are just off-target throws. And most of the time, Colin, even in Denver here, when we talked about Bo Nix, when Bo Nix has struggled, it is because he has been so sped up in the pocket that he gets frenetic.
Yeah.
And when he gets frenetic, he gets he's so quick with his feet and he's so quick in the pocket and he's climbing the pocket that he's ahead of the receivers, coming out of breaks. He's ahead of the receivers and then he's inaccurate with the football. And that's what I see with J.J. McCarthy, just his level of inaccuracy or his level of just being sped up in the pocket, almost like he's too anxious.
Yeah.
And you've got to have energy in your feet, but you've got to have smooth ability. I used to say this about our colleague Tom Brady all the time. He's the best scrambler I've ever seen that never left the pocket. And it just was this fluid nature in the pocket where it never looked, rushed. It never looked hurried. It never looked frenetic. It just looked, smooth. And it allowed him to throw with unbelievable accuracy. And that's what I see the issue being with McCarthy. There's just way too many off-target throws. But the good news for me is I look at it and go, hey, you're going to the right guy.
Yeah.
You've got the right thought process here. We just got to put these things on target. And that comes from the feet up. You've got to slow your feet down and you got to be a little bit more methodical in the pocket so that you can have some accuracy with your throws.
Let's wrap it up with this. Kansas City's interesting. They won every close game last year. They've lost all of them this year. We know the play calling's good. We know Mahomes is talented. I do think they got to rip the Band-Aid off here with Travis Kelce. Like, he's really good about 6 times a year, but he was never a great blocker. He doesn't block at all now. When you look at Kansas City, do you still put them in that, they could win the whole thing bubble? Or do you've been on teams where it's just not right? It's just not the year. How do you feel about them?
Right. Yeah. They're sitting at 5-5 right now. And you're right. It's not like, hey, coming off a bye week, Andy Reid was 21-4 coming off bye weeks. They've got a bye week going into Denver. They knew Denver's defense was legitimate. They knew that the Denver Broncos are playing pretty good football. This is, you don't win this game, you're probably not winning the AFC West for the first time in 9 years. They knew all this stuff was on the line, and yet they still could not perform in critical moments. Third downs, I think they were 5 of 16. The Denver Broncos put on a clinic on third down, how to shut down a prolific offense. And they've got their weapons back. So, yeah, something's off, Colin. They don't look like the same football team. Now, listen, at 5-5, could I see them fighting their way back into the playoffs? Absolutely. Will they be dangerous? Yeah, they still have the pedigree of Mahomes and Andy Reid and Spags. And, they're still that team. But, boy, they're just a little bit off right now. I still think they're better than Houston. I don't think Houston has an offense. You see Jacksonville up there. I think they're better overall than Jacksonville, although Jacksonville did beat them on that Monday night game. But, they're kind of on the outside looking in right now, but I still think they're a dangerous football team.
Okay, well, finally, look at Denver. You cover them, you're in that city. Denver's going to win their division. If you said there's one team I don't want to play, you're not going to probably play New England. They'll probably win their division. If I said there's one team Denver doesn't match up with as a number 1 seed, that's not guaranteed. 1 or 2. If they get the 1, they get a bye. But is there a team that they've been better in the regular season? It's a bad matchup for Sean Payton and Bo Nix in round 1.
Well, I would say that the team that would scare me on that of all those teams would probably be Buffalo. And I know that they're defensively, they're challenged right now. They have not been able to shut down the run game, though. The Broncos can't run the ball. They're not running the ball with great efficiency right now. And they lost J.K. Dobbins. But it's just the overall Superman mentality nature, which is a double-edged sword, as you know, with Josh Allen. I mean, last weekend, 3 touchdowns passing, I think 2 rushing. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. And I don't think that's a way to win a championship, but it certainly can bounce you out of a playoff game without question. They're the team that really concerns me the most.
Good stuff, Mark Schlereth. As always, no game this week. You got to sit home and watch games. How much fun is that?
I know it. How about that? How good is that going to be?
Well, last week you had Titans, Texans, and I pity. You did an excellent job.
I told everybody on our crew, I go, hey, man, at halftime, this is going to be, I guarantee you, Tennessee has got a really decent defense. They don't show it because they get worn out, but I guarantee it's going to be a one-score game. I didn't realize there would be only one score, 3 points. That part I didn't realize.
As always, Mark, good seeing you.
All right, man. Take care.
J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Yes. All right, let's get started with the spitting incident from over the weekend, Colin. Weird. I think there's like the third one of these this season in the NFL. So obviously there was the Jamar Chase, Jalen Ramsey dust-up, which led to Chase spitting. He denied it. After the game, one angle clearly showed, as you can see on the screen there, Chase spat at him. Obviously, the NFL decided to suspend him for one game. He's going to appeal it. He ain't going to win that, as you can see the video. And the line on Bengals, Patriots has ballooned up from 7 to 8.5 all of a sudden. Patriots have Christian Gonzalez, right? Put him on T. Higgins and go ahead and beat us, Joe Flacco. I like the Patriots here, Colin. I don't like this from Jamar Chase, who overall seems like a good dude, really good dancer. His celebrations are excellent, but this is, come on.
I don't get it. I don't know what drives you to do that.
Not shown here is right before this, Jalen Ramsey kind of hit him after a pass. It was a hard hit. It was an incomplete pass, really drilled him, and Chase was ticked off, thought it was dirty, so he retaliated with this. But what do they say? 2 wrongs don't make a right or something like that? I don't know. I don't make a lot of wrongs, so I'm not familiar with the saying.
Sure.
But anyway, so Chase suspended. Joe Burrow, no word yet. We're keeping an eye on that. Now, if Burrow all of a sudden can play, that changes the calculus of this game.
Yeah.
But I still think the Bengals are toast this season, right?
Yeah, they're not a playoff team. No.
All right, let's move on to Shedeur Sanders. He had his debut in the second half against the Ravens under duress much of the game. It's starting to look like, Colin, Shedeur could get the nod for his first NFL start against the Vegas Raiders this weekend. Here's Kevin Stefanski talking about his quarterbacks after practice.
Shedeur's putting in great work, on the field, in the meeting room. He will be better with reps that he's getting, like any player would be better. But we trust him, and he's somebody that's continued to put in the work and will continue to do so.
This is the strangest thing. I always thought Tim Tebow had the most delusional fans. I think Shedeur's surpassed that. This idea, this criticism of Stefanski, well, he's not getting a lot of first-team reps. Being a backup quarterback means you often don't. Tom Brady would not give his backups first-team reps. Any of them. The great ones are not giving. If you think Brett Favre was giving Aaron Rodgers first-team reps, as Favre was getting poked in the ribs by, snarky, funny Aaron Rodgers, Josh Dobbs won a game in the NFL, threw for 350 yards without a practice. Baker Mayfield, with one practice, had a fourth-quarter drive to win a game for the Rams. It's a dumb argument. There are certain jobs that it's like, you remember they used to have beepers? If you were a reporter or a surgeon, you got beeped.
Or a drug dealer. That's why my parents wouldn't let me get one. Yeah.
Well, you get beeped at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You're not always well rested when you're a surgeon. You're going to go in sometimes in the middle of a night. That's part of the job description. If you're a quarterback in this league, you're not a starter, you're not getting first-team reps. It's called preseason. You may get mop-up duty twice a year. So that is a weak toss at Kevin Stefanski. His job, and by the way, Dylan Gabriel's a rookie. Why would he not give him every rep at every practice? He's trying to make sure that Dylan Gabriel can stabilize his game. It's not like he's a 13-year veteran.
Yeah. I should point out, you mentioned Josh Dobbs, and that was, of course, a memorable game. His nickname was the Pastronaut, remember? Because he was allegedly like one of the smartest guys out there. He'd just show up, boom,
astrophysicist,
bang, boom. Super smart, right.
Yeah.
I don't know what Shedeur's degree was at Colorado. I'm going to guess it wasn't astrophysics.
Well, yeah, let's just say this. He was very typical of a rookie who was on the scout team that was injected into a game against a very good team. That's what you look like. Just stop making excuses. You don't get first-team reps. Go look at, go to Tony Gonzalez's career. Tony Gonzalez was a great tight end who liked to block too. How many times do you think Tony said, hey, back up? We're doing some red zone stuff. Why don't you insert yourself and you can get some reps with my quarterback? That's not the way the sport works. Backups are backups. You don't get first-team reps regularly.
I'll just say this. I watched the Raiders last night. You watched that game. Their defense is not good. Dak did whatever he wanted. Now, Dak has better weapons. There's a world where Shedeur has some success on Sunday, Colin. I'm not going to shock you. I wouldn't be shocked if he throws for 250 yards and they beat the Raiders. Honestly.
Let me ask you this. You love Brock Purdy. How many first-team reps do you think he got before Trey Lance and Jimmy G got hurt? None.
I'll go with 0.
And he stepped in as the last guy taken in the 7th round and was very good first start. He wasn't getting first-team reps, so stop making excuses. If you can play, you can play.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for him against the Raiders.
No, he was fine. He wasn't as bad as people say, but he runs backwards, and Dylan Gabriel doesn't as often, and that's a lot of what coaches. What did Ben Johnson say? The first thing he wanted to get rid of from Caleb, negative plays. So Shedeur has a tendency, he did in college, to take off and run the wrong way. It's like, bro, you're not that athletic. Josh Allen can do that. It's not what you should be doing.
Final story comes to the NBA. Well, LeBron James may make his season debut tonight against the Utah Jazz at home here at the Crypt. LeBron ramped up with the Lakers G League affiliate. Was at practice. You can see the videos all over Instagram. I'm excited for this one. I know Utah has been up and down. They got a couple guys. They were in like a triple overtime game the other night. LeBron returning is huge for the NBA. I know some people don't like LeBron. That's fine. We're talking about the greatest player of all time at his age, coming back to the Lakers, the best brand in the NBA.
Yeah.
Luka, Reeves, like there's a lot of fun storylines here. I'm going to go ahead and go LeBron plays 15 minutes tonight and you lead the show with the King tomorrow.
I may. He's going to take some shots away from Austin Reeves. Not Luka, but Austin. He'll take shots away from Rui and Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves is cool with that. He's a team player. He's not a selfish individual.
You want that 40 large, you better get your shots.
He's taking a hometown discount. He's already on record. He loves it in Los Angeles. Doesn't want to go to the Bulls. Doesn't want to go to the Milwaukee Bucks, for Giannis. Right. He loves L.A.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Nobody's saying LeBron's talent isn't an additive to a team. But I've said before is that Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, there's a lot of duplication. They're very good with the ball. Luka is the best offensive player right now in the NBA. He wants the ball, and you got to give it to him. He's in his prime. It's skinny jeans Luka. So there is duplication. This team does not have a rim protector, and they're not good enough athletically on the wing defensively. So when you have duplication, it's like a team that's got excellent running backs but needs some perimeter weapons. If you have 3 good running backs, move one and get a number 2 or number 3 perimeter weapon. So it's not that LeBron will make the team worse, but it'll look different. The spacing will be different. Austin Reeves will get fewer looks, and Austin's very good with the ball. Right now, Luka's second in usage rate. So the Lakers are winning, giving Luka the ball a lot. LeBron's going to have the ball some. He's going to probably drop in usage rate, or Austin Reeves is. So the offense won't look the same or feel quite the same. We'll see how it works out. It's the Herd. I was kind of, it was funny this morning. We were talking about Sam Darnold and Andrew Luck. And we came in this morning. We do about an hour and a half prep in the morning. And I said, go look at Andrew Luck's career interception numbers. Because I had said years ago when he came into the league, I said, I think Sam, Andrew Luck played at Stanford in the Pac-12 and Sam did at USC. And I said, I bet their interception numbers are kind of similar. I had no idea how similar they were. And again, Luck played in a weaker division. He didn't have Belichick in his division twice a year. And Andrew Luck had Bruce Arians. And when you look at the Sam Darnold, Andrew Luck, that's why I've defended Sam Darnold. He's a playmaker. He can be reckless. Favre was reckless. Elway was reckless. Andrew Luck and Sam Darnold, if you look at their career numbers, they're incredibly similar. Sam's actually more accurate. But it's crazy. I mean, their passer ratings both have 9 games with 3+ interceptions. And I mean, I just think people loved Cam Newton, and Cam Newton never had back-to-back winning seasons. Sam is now going to have back-to-back winning seasons with 2 different teams. Like, it's about winning. And if you take the Jets out, Sam was a winner in Carolina, 4-2, a winner in Minnesota, and a winner in Seattle. So here was Sean McVay yesterday, despite picking off 4 of his passes, talking about Darnold.
I think Sam has done a great job, and I totally agree how well he's played. I think it's the epitome of rushing coverage playing together. And that's why I always think stats are for losers, because we had 0 sacks, but those 4 interceptions were such a great combination of he gets sped up with rushing coverage. You feel that pocket collapse. He has to deliver the ball earlier than he wants. It was a great job by our group as a whole, bringing it to life. And I think you see on all 4 of those interceptions, the consistent theme is there's a push in the pocket, there's somebody flashing across his face, and there's guys connected and in their spots on the back end.
And I thought Mark Schlereth had a point, is like, Sam, this is a really good team. Just hold the ball, eat it, dirt it, take a sack. But it is interesting because Andrew Luck, I thought, was the best quarterback prospect I'd ever seen since John Elway. And to give you an example of how good Luck was, I don't think people understand this. He went 11-5, 11-5, 11-5. And 2 of those years, the Colts arguably had the worst roster in the league. As much as I love Josh Allen, he wasn't that good his first 2 years. And he had a team that had made the playoffs. He had a better roster. Andrew Luck is, Tom Brady could not have won, and he's the best quarterback ever. Joe Montana could not have won. Peyton Manning could not have won as many games as Andrew Luck did his first 2 years with that roster. They had one other player that was a Pro Bowl level player. Was a cornerback, I believe. May have been a special teamer. They just didn't have a lot of talent. So my takeaway is that what Andrew Luck did is all-time unique, and then he just got lung got, I believe, punctured, and it was just really sad. But if you go back and look at Luck, he's an all-time talent that got knocked out of the game physically. And yet if you look at Sam's numbers, including the toxic Jets, a lot of them are the same. They both had 9 3+ interception games. By the way, the worst game Luck ever played, 4 interceptions against Belichick. Well, Sam had to play Belichick twice a year. So Luck didn't. And the worst game Sam's had, he's had 2 really, really bad games in terms of interceptions. One was this past week, and one was last year in the playoffs against the Rams, where he had multiple picks. So, it's just, and again, I think Luck's better. I'm not disputing that. Speaking of great quarterbacks, happy birthday to Caleb Williams. He is officially 24 years old today. Happy birthday to the great Caleb Williams.
Come on. Cowherd, what are we doing? Comparing Darnold to Andrew Luck and birthday shout-outs.
No. I don't think Darnold's as good as Andrew Luck.
Yeah, but somebody in an airport walking by the screen is going to see that and be like, wait, what's happening now? I mean, you made a decent argument, but like if this went to court, you would lose the case for sure. It was a no-brainer. It's not even close. I
am acknowledging, USC, before Darnold got there, was not very good, and he got them to win a Rose Bowl over Penn State.
I remember that game.
He kind of carried them. And then he just went to a place where nobody can win. So
yeah, I loved him on the Jets. I was rooting for him when remember the Giants passed on him?
Yeah.
They were like, we'll take a running back. I was like, oh my gosh, they're doing cartwheels.
Darnold went 21-6 at USC. USC the year before and the year after Darnold, 13-13. They did not have a lot of talent. I think he played with Michael. Did he play with Michael Pittman? I think he did. I think Michael Pittman may have been a freshman or something. Yeah. I could be wrong on that.
So one of the issues with Darnold, and again, we're picking nits here, but he hasn't faced any good defenses this year, Colin. And then he goes up against the Rams and throws 4 picks. And the Rams owned him last year when he was in Minnesota.
Name 5 great defenses in the NFL.
Right now. Okay, well, depending on what metric you want, the Denver Broncos defense is great. The Houston Texans defense is great. Didn't play great last week, but they're great. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is outstanding. Those are 3 for sure. Seattle has one of the best defenses in the league. I think you would agree with that.
Yeah.
The 5th one is tricky. Off the top of my head, I would say the Rams are up there in most categories.
Yeah, I think the Rams are really good.
Yeah, they would probably be.
And I think the Eagles are really good.
Yeah.
And I think Denver's really good. I think Sam beat he beat the Texans earlier this year. Sam beat that defense.
27-19. Yeah, you see that right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, Pittman was a freshman and a sophomore was Sam. So that was his best teammate, Michael Pittman. But Luck's better. I'm not saying it. Luck is better.
Okay.
But I'm saying Sam, his recklessness, the comps on picks are Luck.
So here's my thing. If they don't win the division, Colin, they will have to go on the road in the first round, right? Now, it might be Tampa Bay, which I think, not inclement weather there. But if he's got to go outdoors to Green Bay, God forbid, Chicago, I don't like his chances. Now, the defense will keep him in it. But outdoors, Sam Darnold, Colin, I have my concerns.
I never worry about the outdoors with Sam.
Okay.
The outdoors, I worry about Jared Goff or Tua. If it's cold and windy,
sure, yeah.
I don't worry about Sam in cold weather. What I worry about Sam is they lead a game and Sam gets sped up, like McVay said. Sam, and this was a luck thing. I also think Andrew Luck and Sam are so confident in their abilities, they're not deterred after a pick or two. They don't care. Brady had that ability. Brady threw pick sixes in Super Bowls. Brady did not care. The ultimate confidence is you throw a pick six, you throw a bad pick or two, and you don't care. So that's the confidence, almost illusion that a great quarterback needs. One of the criticisms I've had for years of Aaron Rodgers, if he throws a second pick in a game, he shuts it down. He's like,
mentally cooked.
He starts protecting his passer rating. You can see the body language. He deteriorates. He had one of those games years ago. It may have been against Brady in Tampa. It was windy. He had a couple bad picks. It just kind of like felt he shut down and was protecting his passer rating. Darnold doesn't do it. Peyton didn't do that. Brady didn't do that. Luck didn't do that. They don't care. They have inner scoreboard confidence. They're going to let it rip, and I respect that.
Yeah, one of the problems with Darnold in the 3 games against the Rams, 2, and I know 2 were with Minnesota last year. If he falls behind,
he presses.
I don't know that he presses, he's overthinking it. And listen, that's a tough spot.
Put up the NFC playoff picture, though. I'm telling you, you do not want to play Seattle in the playoffs. They'll probably be an underdog. Remember, what is Seattle on the road? Bizarrely great. Can you imagine being the Rams or the Bears or the Bucks and hosting Seattle, and Seattle's the best road team in the league? If the Seahawks played the Bears and the Bucks, I'd take Seattle on the road.
I would probably agree. Let me check the Seahawks schedule. The Eagles are going to win the NFC, barring some kind of major injury.
If you were the Eagles,
they got to Washington twice. Come on.
Ask yourself this. If you're the Eagles and you look at the Seahawks, Packers, Niners, Detroit, and you could ask Philadelphia who they don't want to play of those 4. You're not going to play division winners. You're going to play either Seattle, Green Bay, San Francisco, Carolina, Dallas, or Detroit. I guarantee you Philadelphia would say, we have no interest in Seattle.
Green Bay is don't scoff at their defense.
They have no identity at all. I mean, you already beat them
let's go
Lambeau.
Quickly. Coach, Green Bay or Seattle? LaFleur, obviously. McDonald's great, but come on, it's LaFleur. Come on. LaFleur's been great.
You asked me a question and gave me the answer. I'd take McDonald.
Over LaFleur?
Yeah.
Based on one season that McDonald's been pretty good.
I needed one season with Sean McVay. I knew he was better than 90% of the league.
Okay, fine. Quarterback, Darnold or Love?
Coin flip.
Oh, my gosh. All right, you're clearly all in on Seattle.
Run game, Seattle. Athletic roster,
is Josh
Seattle.
Jacobs healthy? Wait, what's happening here? Hold on. You think Seattle's better right now than Green Bay?
If they played, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, damn. Okay. I was not anticipating that. So you give them the edge in coach, quarterback is a toss-up.
Run game and roster. And by the way, number 1 weapon, Seattle. Run game, Seattle.
Seattle does have the best offensive skill position player weapon. Yes, I would agree. JSN is number 1. Huh. Okay. Oh, my. That's a bold take. Could you tell our social staff to put that online? Let's see if people agree with you or not.
No, I'm saying Seattle has an absolute identity. What is Green Bay offensively? Their coach doesn't know. Seattle, you know what Seattle is. You tell me how many teams can throw 4 picks against the Rams and be kicking a winning field goal. How many? Not Green Bay.
Yeah.